Welcome back to Hannity. As the one-year anniversary of the Sandy Hook school shooting approaches, gun activists have put together the following TV ad to mark the solemn day. Take a look.
On December 14th, we'll have a moment of silence for Newtown. But with 26 more school shootings since that day, ask yourself, is silence what America needs right now?
Now, while everyone in the country can agree something needs to be done to prevent future incidents like the one that occurred last year in Newtown, questions are being raised about whether or not these groups are using the horrific tragedy to push through their gun control agenda. Here to debate from the American Values Institute, Alexis McGill-Johnson, and Breitbart.com columnist Lois Lane, Carrie Pickett. That's our fun name for her. Good to see you guys. All right, is this politicizing a tragedy?
Absolutely. And the interesting thing here is that because the liberals could not get their gun control bill through much earlier in the year, we've seen that people go from around January from 37% strongly supporting gun control to, dropping way down to at least 10 more points, and now only about 27% are pushing it. And frankly, people want to be able to protect their own children and themselves, and further gun control bill and further politicizing of an event just frankly takes away from their argument.
Alexis, let's say, God forbid, you have a child in school and you turn on the news and there you see one of these incidents is happening at your child's school, God forbid. And would you rather that there be an armed guard in that school at that moment? Or would you prefer nobody in the school besides the shooter have a gun?
I don't think this is about whether or not we have an armed
guard.
I
asked you a question.
This is a much broader conversation.
Before we get to that, I'm asking, in that moment, would you, if you knew your school had armed guards, would you be glad, or would you wish they weren't there?
Quite frankly, with the kinds of military assault weapons that exist, that people without...
You're not answering my question.
No,
you don't want to answer my question.
Because the armed guard folk, the armed guard guy may not be able to even compete with someone who has a
maybe not. But
magazine capacity.
I would be glad. If my kid's school had armed guards, I would be glad to know that they were there in that moment if I was in the situation I'm describing for you.
And what I would be grateful for would be to have a much broader conversation in this country about how we can reduce the number of
I'm telling you how we can.
Together, and that's what this ad is about. And we haven't been able to do anything about it, Carrie. That's the challenge, right?
Actually,
tremendous amount of support.
But actually, ever since around 1993, we've seen gun sales go right through the roof. And think about this: the murder rate has gone down. So, granted, this is a horrendous tragedy. But in the same light, just because people are buying more guns now doesn't mean that the murder rate is actually going through the roof. It's actually going down.
Let me ask Carrie this question. If we had retired policemen that were armed at every school, retired military guys that are retired at every school, the front line of defense, if God forbid something happens, wouldn't that be a good way? And if every criminal knew that every school had armed guards, I think a message is sent that, you know what, we're not going to take this anymore. We're not going to have sitting ducks, these gun-free zones that prevent people from even thinking of defending themselves.
You know what's so fascinating about this, Sean, is just that Democrats back in the 90s were fully in support of having armed guards, or at least guards out there, police basically, in the schools. What happened was, over the years, money was cut from that particular program. And so, unfortunately now, we see people saying, oh, well, an armed guard is going to help. Well, actually, why is it then that very rich people have armed guards around them?
Yeah, well, let me ask this. Alexis, let's say, God forbid, somebody breaks into your house at night. would you be glad you had a gun in the house, or
no? Quite
you would
frankly,
you
no,
would not?
No, I would not want a gun.
Well, then how would you defend yourself?
I would call 911.
Okay.
I would call the
It's
police.
over by then. When they get there,
Sean,
whatever's going to happen
this
is over.
isn't about arming every American. This is about making sure that we have
say every
very
American.
responsible gun ownership, and that every gun sold has a background check. That
we already
can
have
deal
that.
with these mentally unstable folks. That is not true.
Listen,
there are many gun.
You're not going to be able to
at gun
stop
shows where people are able to just purchase these firearms.
Law-abiding people obey the laws.
And military assault weapons. We don't need these military-grade weapons with high magazine capacity. That's what we're talking about. That was what the Newtown shooting was about.
You're missing the point.
That's what with the 26, almost 27 shootings.
You know how quickly I can drop a clip and put another clip in my gun? It's seconds.
But you see, here's the thing, too.
It's completely different, Sean.
Military assault weapons aren't what people actually think they are. What we're talking about here is that people up on Capitol Hill, they want to ban even semi-automatic weapons because those hold high-capacity magazines. So then you're talking about things like a Glock 19 pistol or 6-hour P250 pistol, and when you see a pistol like that, you're not thinking, oh, wow, that's military grade. No, that's something that the Congress does want to ban, and that will be part of an assault weapons ban.
And I believe as well it should be.
It
should be. If we're concerned about the safety of our children, if we're concerned about our ability to protect ourselves, we need to
put retired policemen and retired.
I agree. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, thank you. You finally agree.
That's a great
That'll
idea.
solve the problem.
But I would like to also focus on getting these semi-assaults out of
By the way,
that's where the American support is.
I would urge you to get trained in the use of a firearm to protect yourself and your family.
I'll be more than happy to take you to the range.
Coming up next tonight, right here on Hannity.